Well, you know, of all the critters, I think that we primates tell our story badly. All primates reason. All primates use tools, and all primates pass down learned knowledge to the next generation. By reason, what I mean is being able, as a sentient being, to stop a moment and consider your options rather than doing the same thing over and over. Consider a fly. It will continue to fly against a window pane. Some sentient beings, however, can pause and consider alternatives to flying repeatedly into the window pane. That's reason. It's really, I think, no more complicated than that, except we can use it in more and more complicated ways. For the fly, certainty is a feature, not a bug. It's always certain. It's going to act the same way every time. For some sentient beings, however, certainty can be a bug, not a feature. Again, we tell our story as primates badly. Yes, ancient structures such as Stonehenge were religious sites. Human beings have an emotional strategy, I would call it, that we call religious. Yet, many of those ancient religious structures were also precise mathematical instruments, measuring the movements of the earth and the stars. I, for one, am convinced that there have been more scientists, physicians, philosophers, and architects in all of human history than there have been priests. Consider the content of one ancient religion from one of the oldest continuous human civilizations, Egypt. The god Thoth is sometimes portrayed with the head of a baboon, sometimes that of an ibis, so sometimes a primate and sometimes a bird. One story about Thoth goes like this. In his time, the calendar had 360 days, and Thoth realized that this was not enough time for the earthly seasons to take place. So he asked the moon to give him 5 more days a year. Now, folks, this is not science, by the way, so this is mythology, so it's not going to work out. All right. No way am I working 5 more days in the year, said the moon in response. No way. That's fair, said Thoth. How about we make a bet? Forget about days. Let's gamble for fractions. Sure, said Moon. How big a fraction? Oh, a little one, said Thoth. 1/72nd of your life, of your light. Right, 1/72nd is all I want. Well, now 1/72nd of the moon's light, if there's 365 days of the year, it's going to break down to 5 days or 7,200 minutes. That's all we want is a few minutes. Well, that's strangely precise, said the moon, but sure, I'll go for your bet. And though history nor mythology says what the game was, indeed Thoth won the game, got the 1/72nd of a earthly light year, and by golly, we now have 365 days in our calendar. All right. Now, if Thoth sounds a bit like the mythical character of a trickster, you're right about that. Prometheus is as well. The gods that bring humanity some kind of knowledge are often trickster gods. Thoth was supposed to also have invented writing, and he usually appears, if you look at the various kinds of pictures, with some kind of a writing instrument, which was a reed in ancient Egypt. Thoth is also thought to have created the math behind the pyramids, and he created the Ankh, A-N-K-H, the symbol for life and being itself. And as you can easily see, that's a precursor to the Christian cross. Thoth lives on in popular culture even to our day, a symbol of wisdom and creative adaptability. the ability to use our brains so that we don't have to act like the fly with certainty all the time. Now, besides a love for extravagant neckwear, the ancient Egyptian poets who invented the myth of the god Thoth and the Elizabethan era scientist Francis Bacon had also interests in creative adaptability and in experiment. They both learned the wisdom of checking with the earth before you make claims about reality. Sir Francis Bacon is commonly credited with formulating what we today call the scientific method, and he's famous for formulating the phrase scientia potentia est, knowledge is power. Now, it is interesting that it first looks like the word science, and that is where it comes from, though from the verb scientere, which is to chop apart, to cut up into little pieces so that you can look at things. And scientia in this case is knowledge, and potentia is potential, right? Not power, but potential, the potential of knowledge. Galileo improved on the existing telescopes of his time, and he turned that telescope to the moon, and he wrote what he saw. He said he saw a strange spottedness on the moon, a strange spottedness. No one had ever seen that strange spottedness on the moon before. It wasn't smooth like porcelain, rather it was strangely spotted. Certainty died at that moment. And as I said before, no lie, even an unintentional lie, even a confused mythological fib, none of those can last forever. We were then, we are now, and we will always be primates looking at the stars. That's always been what we were, and it always will be. Our greatest enemy has always been our own egos and our certainty. Our greatest strength, now and forever, is our awe and our wonder.